and remasters can be a wonderful thing in the modern day. It introduces a whole lot of new people to a whole lot of new generation kids to these old games, which I love. Being able to re-release a game to modern platforms is always an amazing treat, especially when those releases can be done right. But some re-releases and ports can be done horribly and are somehow worse than the original game. Today, I'm going to be talking about these ports along with Kartfessor.
Yeah, we're going to talk about five games. We already know which one we're going to save for the best for last, of course, because we want to rate on that one. But yeah, all of these ports and remasters were not so great.
Yes, and maybe you've played these remasters as also, and hell, one of them I even have already talked about in this channel so far in the YouTube short format. So if you were a fan, without further ado, let's take a look at these bad ports and remasters. So remember the Nintendo Switch, right? It's an amazing console, and it's probably one of the best consoles I've had for a long time. However, though, Nintendo is incredibly stingy with releasing their games nowadays, and refuses to let anyone play their older games on their older platforms. They love to take down anyone who even remotely either pirates their games or just the music of those games. It's like they hate their fans. And there's no better showcase of that than some of the re-releases we've gotten in the modern day. So let's start in 2019, where every single year, so even to this day, every Wii U game was getting a port. And that's because the Wii U was a horrible failure of the console, so why not introduce people who didn't own a Wii U to these games? Or for people who did own the games on Wii U, you could play them again. But a bad case of a Wii U port is that they're always $60. And one of those is a game released in early 2019 called New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. This game got revealed in the Nintendo Direct and drove everybody insane because there was a new character to the mix, Toadette, which can also transform into Peach, and this drove everybody nuts. They also created Bowsette, which was a horrible abomination of an internet meme, and I still hate Bowsette to this day. So the game released for $60 in early 2019, and it's not even worth it at all. The New Super Mario Bros. Series alone is just not worth the money, and you could already get Luigi U and Super Mario Bros. U on Wii U for $20. So to have a $60 port with only one new character, and not even being able to play as Blue Toad separately, yeah, this was a pretty bad port.
Yeah, you have New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, which has the easy mode that removes content. It's just like, why? Like you added one character to it, and it could have added like Wario or Waluigi or Daisy, but no, you just added Toadette that some people don't care about, like myself.
Exactly. So, and another thing is that a lot of people really were irritated about the spin jump in the game. For some reason, for some ungodly reason, they decided to map the spin jump to the B button. So sometimes you could spin jump in midair when trying to do another jump. This irritates me a lot, but don't worry, you can disable it by entering a secret code on the title screen. Why is this a feature even? Everything was fine. Why did you even include this in the game? This drove me and many other people insane, especially when I was just trying to jump. I ended up doing a freaking spin jump instead and fall to my death. It's half the time this is a bad port, and the newer New Super Mario Bros. Games as a whole are pretty bad, except for DS and Wii. So whatever you do, just do not buy this port, and it's not worth the money at all. If you do manage to find it, and it does go on still, sorry.
And you have a Wii U game that has both New Super Mario Bros. U and Luigi U. So what was the point to begin with for making this port? Like, it was already on the Wii U. Both of those games in one game.
And you know the sad part is that it's one of the most best-selling Switch games. A 2D Mario game priced for $60 for a game you could buy for $20 on Wii U became one of the best-selling Switch games.
Yeah,
that is horrible.
Yeah. It used to be number 10, but yeah, Green City Adventure took over that spot.
In my opinion, if you do like New Super Mario Bros. U, there's not a problem with that. I do like New Super Mario Bros. U, and this game does go on sale for quite a lot. I mostly see it around 30, but even for 30 to 40, it's still not worth the price. If you can find the game for a decent price, I would say go for it, but definitely do not buy it at its full price value.
And if you already played another certain game, Tropical Freeze, well, I know it's a great 2D game, but I know it's definitely worth it because if you guys want to play Tropical Freeze, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah,
but if you already played it, it's basically just like New Super Mario Bros. U, but they added Funky Kong.
Alright, so moving on with the 2019 trend, and kind of one I actually forgot about. So the 3DS lived on for a long time until 2019, when we got two questionable Nintendo ports. I totally forgot to add this into the video, and I honestly just realized they existed. So the first one is a remake that shouldn't even exist. So I remember Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. Yeah, that's an amazing game. But what if you remade the game to the 3DS? Yeah, this makes no sense. You can already play the original game on the 3DS. So charging $40 for a remake of a game with one extra game mode is not worth it. Hell, I think the graphics actually look worse than the original. I just prefer the original game's art compared to the remake. The Superstar Saga remake made sense because I was on GBA, it wasn't on DS. So that made sense. Maybe if they actually ported Bowser's Inside Story to, I don't know, the Switch, which was out at the time, that would have made more sense. But you could already play the original on 3DS, so what was the point of this?
And that's how Alpha Dream went out of business.
The game became one of the most least-selling Mario games of all time, if not probably the least-sold Mario game of all time, because it's such a questionable decision. It's really sad to see Alpha Dream go out of business because of this remake. But hey, maybe if you actually put it on the Switch, maybe it wouldn't have actually done well. But no, they released a port that probably no one bought at the time because you could already play the original on 3DS. Another questionable port, but definitely way more understandable, is the port of Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn on the 3DS. Kirby's Epic Yarn was a game on the Wii that was actually my first Kirby game, and I still love to this day. So when the game received the port in 2019 for the 3DS, I was pretty happy about it. Then until we realized it was actually worse than the original game. The game ran horribly, and then they also added this weird-ass thing called Demo Mode, where this bat would disappear, and just half the time it just ruins the music of the game. Throughout the entireness of the 3DS, throughout the entirety of Extra Epic Yarn, you're going to be hearing this one bad music and never hear the actual game's music. This is really irritating. What if I wanted this mode off? But no, I'm forced to have this on. There's also another mode called Devilish Mode, which actually gives Kirby a life bar, and you could die, but I've never really experienced that. I only played the demo. They also had a few other sub-games, which Epic Yarn didn't have. Overall, it's a very questionable port. It runs worse, and definitely shouldn't have been put on Switch.
Yeah, and then you also have Donkey Kong Country Returns for the 3DS, and it's just like, why do you want to play it on the 3DS? Like, the Wii version's way better. Retro Studios made the game. That's one of my favorite games of all time for Returns, but...
Okay, so I think the reason why Extra Epic Yarn and Returns got ported to 3DS was that Returns got ported to 3DS in 2013, only 3 years after the game came out. So it kind of made sense to make Returns portable. But if I wanted a port of Extra Epic Yarn portably, just put it on Switch. At the time, the Switch didn't exist with the Returns port, so I could understand that. But when the Switch came out in 2017, why would you not play Epic Yarn on the Switch? Same thing goes for the Luigi's Mansion 3DS remake they put on there. Why? Why does every single remake they put out in 2018 to 2019 have to be on the 3DS? The Switch existed for a purpose, to play games you liked portably. It doesn't make sense. I would not buy these games on 3DS. Maybe, just maybe, if they ported Extra Epic Yarn to Switch, I would buy it. But I'm not willing to pay $40 for a worse port of the game.
Well, unless they put it on the Dream Collection too, I'm just saying.
Technically, I mean, that's not a bad idea. If we do end up getting a Kirby's Dream Collection 2 with that game included, then it would kind of make sense, and everyone would forget about the Epic Jump for ES port. But now here comes the actual games we were meant to talk about in this video. One that drives me and Kartfessor both insane, and especially always gets looked upon as one of the most rushed and lazy ports of all time. Remember in 2020, where the entirety of the year, we got information on how 3D Mario games would be coming to Switch. 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy, along with Galaxy 2. The entire year, the rumor was being spread around, and it wasn't until the Super Mario Bros. 35th Anniversary Direct that we finally got it confirmed with Super Mario 3D All-Stars, including the original game, including Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy for $60 with just the soundtracks. That's all you got for 60 big ones. And half of the ports weren't even good either. Mario Sunshine, at least at launch, had tons of bugs because of the emulator they used. They used Dolphin emulator for Mario Sunshine, and that was clearly obvious. In the secret rooms, you could actually see debug cubes in this game. Yes, that's right, debug cubes in Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Along with when you try to open the map, the game would just slow down to a halt, along with some other glitches, like one of the missions, and what was that one place called again? With the hotel, I forgot. Where you fight King Boo. One of the missions was to clean up the electric goop. You could actually finish that within like 10 seconds because of an emulator glitch. Another glitch, which many people didn't really know about, is when you would try to use the turbo nozzle, the game would go in 4x3, but that was only when you used it underwater. But overall, Sunshine was the most glitchiest, and was definitely not built for 16:9.
Yeah.
But
it's just like, the rumor was like, everyone assumed to be remakes, but no, it was ports, and they're not great ports. And in the Direct, like, I thought the last month was going to be a new 3D Mario in development, but no, it was this crap. And then we got the Game & Watch, and that was more like a celebration right there, not 3D All-Star. The Game & Watch is way better. And, like, you have, like, is it nice to have 3 games in the collection on the Switch? Absolutely. But the problem is, there was no effort put into it, and they treated it like a major release.
Exactly. And then, you want to talk about Super Mario 64? So not only did they use the Shindu version of the game, which means for anyone remotely trying to play Mario 64 and trying to get into speed running, well, they can't, because the Shindu version patches out the BLJs. And on top of that, they inverted the damn camera.
It's like, why is Super Mario 64 the screen smaller and the other 2 games bigger?
Exactly.
And Galaxy is considered the best. I hear that Galaxy is better than the other 2.
It is.
And why do we not have Galaxy 2 and 3D Land in the game? And plus, why do we have music in there that it should have been on Spotify? No one's not going to listen to that music when they walk. The only new original piece that we got in the music was the Piranha Plant Lullaby melody that we never heard before. But that sounds very nice. I love that. But,
yeah.
Like, who will hear music walking, like, in a neighborhood while you could just put on Spotify and call it a day?
Exactly. Like, I don't think I've seen anyone in my entire life go for a walk with their Switch. Most people will be using Spotify when listening to music, not their Switch. If I wanted to listen to the Mario 64 or Galaxy soundtrack, I would listen to it on Spotify. But you're going to put it on a Switch? Which, there is a feature to turn the screen off and listen to it like that, but again, no one's going to be walking around with their Switch. And in Mario 64 is the odd one out here. Not only is it in 4x3, which, by the way, Sunshine was in 60:9, which made no sense, but the game, both Sunshine and Mario 64 ran at 30 FPS, while Galaxy ran at 60, because Galaxy was actually made from the ground up. They remade Galaxy entirely to work with the Switch. Why they couldn't do that for Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine baffles me. And why there's not as many emulation errors in Mario 64, if there even was any, the upscaled graphics from Mario 64 also kind of bugged me a little bit, especially with some of the icons on the hood. Like, for example, Mario's face really creeps me out here. But other than that, the game just didn't really work well, and Mario 64 was just probably the least good one of any of that. Galaxy Eater was
most people bought it because of Sunshine, even though Sunshine didn't sell really well on the GameCube because people did not that many people got the GameCube, and that's why most people got it because of Sunshine, basically.
Yeah, but so Super Mario Galaxy was the least problematic one because, like I said, it was built from the ground up, which means that it was in 60 FPS and totally optimized for the Switch. But Sunshine and 64 are the odd ones out. And if you want a true Mario 64 experience on the Switch, possibly just mod it and get the PC port running. But what do you think happened to that? Oh, okay, yeah, Nintendo took it down because they hate their fans. So then, after the horrible release of Super Mario 3D All-Stars, most people, including myself, obviously bought the game for Sunshine. I already had 64 and Galaxy on their original consoles. I didn't really have a GameCube or controller, so I wasn't really able to play Sunshine. So when I played, so even as a person who didn't play Sunshine, I noticed a lot of things wrong with it. That's how you know you fucked up the game. And then the GameCube controller, the controller built for Mario Sunshine, had problems day one. All the mapping was ridiculous. The pressure sensitive triggers literally did nothing. And worst of all, aiming blood is so much more difficult. Like, what the fuck? And then on top of that, you're telling me that you're releasing a port for $60 with only free the game's soundtrack, free games, when we also got in 2012 Kirby's Dream Collection, which had what, 6 games, whole new challenge stages, Kirby's History, and even episodes of the anime for $40? Yeah, you definitely got ripped off here. And then, well, of course, one of the most talked about things about the game, it was a limited time release. If you didn't get the game between when it launched or March 31st, 2021, well, you're fucked. You can't buy the game anymore. Although, to this day, still see physical copies on shelves. If you want to get the game digital, which is how I got it, you can no longer do that. So, not only was it a limited time release, but it also was a god-awful port with barely any effort put into it. In my opinion, 3D All-Stars showcases everything wrong with the port, but it's not the worst one on here. Oh, trust me, there is a way worse one on here, and I'm almost...
For some here, in the digital version, it was also limited, and also, when I go to Target and Walmart, they sell plenty of copies. Well, the Game & Watch, it was definitely limited, yes. That Game & Watch was a limited edition product, yeah. But 3D All-Stars was not limited. They made plenty of copies, and it's just sitting there, and the color's going to fade out of it over time.
It's just funny, like they said the physical version was going to be a limited release, but I still see it on shelves. So I guess Nintendo was lying to us. And another thing, so like I said, this is not the worst port on the list, but my god, is it a bad port. If you're looking forward to playing Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy on a modern system, this is not the way to do it. Mario Galaxy got the treatment that really Sunshine and 64 shouldn't have gotten. They should have remade the game like they did with Galaxy, made them 60 FPS, made 64 16:9, and everything would have been cool. And also include Galaxy 2, and maybe if you included Galaxy 2 and 3D Land, this might have been a collection that was worth it. And if you maybe would have put like some other extras in there, like, I don't know, watching a little bit of the Super Mario Bros. Super Show would have been cool. And you could have put in some exclusive things from like the game, that would be cool. So for $60, this is not a collection that's worth it. But like I said, this is not the worst one on here. Trust me, there's one way worse than this.
And you have Super Mario All-Stars on the Wii, and it's just like, why would you have a port of Super Mario All-Stars on the Wii that you could just play on the SNES, and like, you can just basically emulate it? Like, why would they make it a All-Stars port while the Dream Collection is better than Super Mario All-Stars?
It doesn't even include the version with Super Mario World on it. Like, that's stupid. So overall, I guess Nintendo just doesn't give a fuck about Mario Collection and cares more about Kirby Collection. If we do end up getting a Dream Collection 2 and it's just as rushed as 3D All-Stars, maybe I'll make a follow-up video to it, but it's just pathetic. So after Mario 3D All-Stars, we then go into the year 2021 where 2 more ports were pretty bad. And one of those ports came out to a very, very controversial way. So here's how it went. So Mario 3D All-Stars might have been a disaster, but Sonic ports, they're not too bad. I mean, if we go back in time, we can see the Sonic Mega Collection on GameCube, which had 7 games and tons of crazy extras. So in Sonic Central of May 2021, we got the announcement of Sonic Colors Ultimate, a port of Sonic Colors to be put on modern devices. I was extremely excited for this. I already own Colors on Wii. I could not wait to see the world finally experience Sonic Colors because it was originally a Wii and DS exclusive. So being able to port Colors to modern systems, yeah, I was all on for this. Including 60 FPS and some new modes, this was looking to be a good port. However, though, it wasn't until not even were we were seeing red flags from the beginning before the game even came out. For example, when they were doing HD spotlight trailers for the game, we saw some horrible improvements. The colors looked a lot more lifeless, and that Rival Lush mode looked pretty bad. But this was before the game came out. We couldn't get our hopes up just yet. So, the game came out, and there were 2 ways you could purchase the game. You had a digital deluxe version, and you could play the game 4 days before it was supposed to come out. And this was when all the issues started. No matter what platform you were playing on, the game was filled with glitches, especially the Switch version. Now, I think the reason why the Switch version was the least optimized is because the company who made this port, Blind Squirrel Games, who previously made other ports like BioShock and Mass Effect, didn't really work on Switch games at the time. So yeah, Sega didn't make this port. It was another company we have to blame. So this game retailed for $40 and retailed for $45 for a digital deluxe copy. I bought the game regularly a couple days after it launched and experienced a lot of problems. And this was when things started to suck. So one of the most things shitting about Colors Ultimate Online when it launched was the infamous seizure glitch that you could get while playing the Switch version of the game. And what do you know? Upon going into the 4th zone of the game, I ended up getting it. And I'm not really a guy who gets seizures here, so I made a shorts video following up about the seizure glitch. I didn't end up selling the Switch version and getting the Xbox version because I honestly hated the Switch version. And another thing that's a big disadvantage is the horrible audio mixing and loading screens. So the audio mixing was really bad at launch and would constantly go for one headphone or the other. Now, I didn't really play with headphones, so I didn't really care about this issue, but for people who played with headphones on, I could see why it's an issue. So another glitch that's pretty bad is that the fact that most of the game was really inferior to the original. The game was ported pretty well, don't get me wrong, but there were some things that were taken away. Like, for example, the lights are completely gone and dished away with Tails Assist, which half the time don't even work. Basically, when you would die, he would put you back onto the level, and that's how it went. And when you eventually run out, you just get put to the last checkpoint. So you can't get a game over. However, though, half the time I end up dying, he never really rescues me, even though I had the maximum amount. So it's really weird. And then I even come across glitches to this day while just playing the game. I've already posted 2 of them on this channel. Both of them were completely unintentional. One of them, which I still have no clue how happened, I was playing Starlight Carnival Act 3, and I eventually exited the level and went on to Planet Wisp Act 1, and half of the skybox was missing. Honestly, this looked like a pretty cool setting. It looked like Planet Wisp at night, and I kind of liked it, but it was still a glitch.
Yeah, when I saw that Sonic Colors announcement, I was very excited for it. Yeah, I said, oh my god, Sonic Colors finally coming on Switch, so I can play on HD. But, like, not that long before release, I saw the split and said, oh yeah, I'm not getting this crap anymore. Right? Yeah. Sonic Colors was my first Sonic game. I have it on the Wii, and, like, just don't get this game. Just emulate emulate it or just get it physically like I do or anyone else.
Yeah, this is a bad port of Sonic Colors. Another thing to mention is that another thing to mention is, well, another glitch is you can get. At launch, when you ended up going to the credits scene, halfway through the music would just become silent because the credits were not built to be that long. It's a full-on 30 minutes of credits, and you actually get a reward for doing so. It's pretty hilarious. And then half the time, the ending music or the list music would not even play at all when it's been using those. Literally, there would be times where I'd use the list and I would just not hear a single bit of music. Or when I ended the level, I would just hear no music either. Another crazy thing that happened to me was when I died in Starlight Carnival Act 6, where the entire level became 3D and I couldn't see where I was going. That's fun. Yeah, so while Mario 3D All-Stars was a rushed port, I would believe Colors Ultimate was too. I mean, it was being worked on during the pandemic, so that can kind of be a option, but it was just not a good port, at least for my opinion. Now, compared to it's just really weird, because usually Sonic ports are amazing, and with the recently coming out with Sonic Origins, I'm more excited than ever to tackle those games. But Colors Ultimate was a complete failure, and as a guy who played Colors Ultimate and has pretty much played all of these ports in the videos except for a couple, I can fairly say that this is the least harming one out of any of them, and probably is, well, but another thing, one more thing I had to mention about Colors Ultimate was the horrible remixes. One of the best things about Colors, or just about Sonic games in general, are the really good soundtracks of those games. And one remix that really stuck out to me was the Planet Wisp remix. For some reason, they really messed up the music here. The original music was perfectly fine, and as you went into the factory, that's when the music started to kick up in terms of pace. And it was perfect how it would transition. But for some reason, in Ultimate, they turned it up to a literally freaking rave song. The song honestly sounds like something you would hear as what a DJ would play, and honestly sounds nowhere near as good as the original. Some of them actually sound worse. Like, some of them even sound actually worse than the originals, like Sweet Mountain, Starlight Carnival is not too bad, and Tropical Resort especially sticks out with that piano. Thankfully, though, later in the last patch we were able to change back to the original musics. But you still cannot change to the original music for Reach for the Stars or Speak With Your Heart, which is still stupid. And
yeah, it's just like, why? Well, why do you even do this? Like, it's one of the worst ports. Like, I didn't get it, thank God.
Yeah, I think you didn't get it. However, though, this remains 2 more games that we're looking at.
Oh boy, so this next one is nothing but a pile of trash. But this game came out around the time when Donkey Kong was turning 40 last year, and I think they revealed it in the February Direct,
yeah,
where we got Mario Golf Super Rush. Yeah, I was very excited for Mario Golf Super Rush. I was also excited to see Splatoon 3 and the Pirate Mist as the fighter for Smash. Those 3 announcements were huge, but this announcement was really bad. So this is The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD. So this port came out back in July of 2021, and when it did came out, the worst thing about it is that you have to pay for the Lost Wing amiibo with the Zelda figure with it, that you can travel. Like, in the original game, you can travel in the game, and, like, in the core, you have to pay $30 for it, and people, when the game came out, people wanted Donkey Kong last year because that would have made sense to make it come out, but instead, Nintendo cares more about Bruce than Donkey Kong.
It's just like, so Skyward Sword is already a game that's really controversial among Zelda fans, especially because of the horrible motion controls and how the game plays. I really haven't played Skyward Sword, so I don't really know what to say about it. But I know my friend Lewis bought Skyward Sword HD when it came out. And the only quality of life improvement I could think about Star Wars Sword HD was the 60 FPS. So let's compare this port to the Wind Waker HD and the Twilight Princess HD ports from the Wii U. Wind Waker HD was $20, gave you tons of life improvements like being able to see the map from the gamepad, changing the wind, and all that. That's really good improvements. And I haven't played Twilight Princess HD yet, so I really don't know what that added. So those were both $20. Well, Twilight Princess I think was $40. So then you make a $60 port of a Wii game that's already very controversial among Zelda fans. Only add 60 FPS to it and nothing really new other than button controllers, which half the time I have to keep switching between them because of how horrible they're poorly executed. And somehow they made the motion controls worse from the original Wii version. The Wii version used Wii Motion Plus to play the game, which made sense. So when the game came to Switch and you had to use the Joy-Con, the motion controls were somehow actually made worse. And it's another game that's already very controversial among Zelda fans, and this probably affected the game's reputation. This was not a good port, and for $60, just like New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, at least with New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, you got 2 games, and while the new characters were horrible, you still got 2 games. For Star Wars Sword HD, you get 1 game, $60, and only 60 FPS for a game that's already very bad among Zelda fans. Yeah, this was bad. We could have gotten something like a Donkey Kong game, but we still haven't. It's been since Tropical Freeze, god damn it. Anyway, but now we move on to the final port of this video. The one that I consider to be the worst port in history of gaming. One that affected many users near the end of the year.
This is a trilogy. This is the Grand Theft Auto trilogy.
Yes. And this came out in November 2021 and got revealed randomly. So the game got revealed in October and gave us our first look at the remasters of GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. I was first really excited for this port because this means we would finally get an upgraded version of GTA of these games. And we were finally going to get a GTA game on Switch, which was always really cool. So when the game released, just like many other games, this is the worst example of a port by far. You may say Colors Ultimate was loaded with a lot of glitches, but this game was chock full of them, all across all of the games in the trilogy. Literally, there was too many to name off. But here's how it went. So, Rockstar hired a company called Grove Street Games to develop these ports, which also previously developed the mobile ports of the games and developed the console remake of San Andreas. So far, we're already off to a bad start, as these companies also made buggy ports of those games. So, when this was revealed, I was cautiously optimistic about it. I was scared that it was going to be like the same situation, and what do you know? It was. But way worse. So those updated graphics, huh? You would have told me why some of these characters look like bootleg version of these characters, how the models actually being worse, spelling errors all over the place, graphical glitches that sometimes can actually crash your freaking system. 2 hours, there's literally a 2-hour video out there that's just full of glitches of this game. That's how much of a mess this game was at launch. These games came out in 2001 to 4. These were old games that you had the perfect time to remake, yet you sit here doing this? This is what you consider scummy? And on top of that, it was $60. So for the author, this was $60, but at least it wasn't chock full of glitches. Like, yeah, it had errors, but this is horrible. Now, for many GTA fans, this was a horrible port. And it's been, like, almost 10 years since GTA 5, and we still haven't gotten anything on GTA 6. Speaking of Rockstar themselves as a company, my God, what the fuck have they been doing? So you're going to release a $20 subscription service to a fucking 9-year-old game? Yeah, okay. So you're just not even bothering to release GTA 6, but instead give us these freaking updates to GTA 5 constantly while giving us buggy ports of your unfinished games. Listen, if I wanted a port of these games done right, I would want them done right. I wouldn't want an unfinished mess of a fucking port here. What went wrong horrible behind these scenes is a devastating story. Literally, this game is without out the worst port I have ever seen, and I definitely do not recommend you play this. Overall, all of these ports were just stick with horrible issues. Most of them were either for glitches or just having no reason to exist.
Yeah, I get it. Like, I get it why Rockstar wanted to have a GTA trilogy on the Switch just because to get ready for GTA 6, but they haven't showed off a GTA 6 trailer yet, even though it's in development. Which I think GTA 6 is probably going to happen probably next year, probably 2024. But like, why would you have this tour of like this collection of the trilogy while you could just play the original and call it a day?
Exactly, and I actually have the entire trilogy on the original games. Whatever you do, just do not buy a GTA trilogy. Just stick with the original games instead. It would be perfectly fine if you did, and avoid this port right now. Even with the patches, it is still a buggy mess. So whatever you do, just do not play this game. And the only ports I recommend in this video is basically the only normal one of any of these. You could say the $60 ports of New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe and Skyward Sword HD can be not worth the money, but they're the most finished ones out of any of this list. So, without further ado, if you like these ports, and well, no problem against it. And I'm really sorry for how long this video actually ended up turning out, but I just had to go crazy on these ports, especially since some of them are my most hated ports of all time. Colors Ultimate was not that bad, but because of Colors Ultimate's port, now the game has a horrible legacy amongst Sonic fans, which is a horrible sight to see. What was once seen as a mediocre game is now seen as a horrible game because of the horrible port. And I guarantee more ports down the way will also get affected. Anyways, this is all I really have to say about these ports and remasters, and what are your thoughts on these ports and remasters? Let me know for sure, as I would love to see your guys' thoughts. Do you guys think these ports are good or bad? So, without further ado, thank you guys for watching this long video. I know it was long. So, anything you want to say, Kartfessor, before ending this off?
Yeah, I think the worst ones, in my opinion, are the Inside Story one, because that's considered, the original one is considered the best Mario and Luigi game, and I love Mario RPG games. But why would you make that type of game in 3D All Stars? Why would you have a collection? Why you could just play the original one? That's it. But yeah, those are the worst ones in my opinion. But yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yes. I would like to say this is the most angry we've probably ever gotten in a video, aside from the expansion pack videos. So I really hope you enjoyed this one, and get ready for tomorrow's upload, where we also describe the fall of the NA Cube Mario Party games, where we talk about 9 to Top 100. We hope you enjoy that video, and we hope you enjoy this video as well. And without further ado, it was definitely see you guys in the next one when we cover those.
Good.
Good.